first thing that represents the strongest beliefs you had in life, then many of you will experience the realization, the seeming physicalization of those beliefs, of those fears. But if someone had an idea that hell would be extremely painful in that way, then if they immediately find themselves in that self-created scenario, they are very unlikely to be able to hold on to sustaining that degree of pain and self-infliction. In a sense, and again, not meaning to be derogatory nor flippant, hell, the concept you usually hold it to be, could only be populated for very long by masochists. By true masochists. For as soon as you know that the pain you are enduring is not something you can tolerate, it will lessen. Because your mind in the non-physical reality instantly translates into the seeming experience you are having. And the second you are aware that the second you change your thoughts, the scenario around you changes, you'll begin to get the idea pretty quick that you don't have to hang around in that scenario. And then it becomes clearer to you that whatever you believe at any given moment, even on that level, and especially in a sense on that level in many ways, is what most quickly manifests and realizes into the experiential reality you are having. You all follow along? Yeah. So these ideas, they are states of being. You can be in that state anywhere, anytime, any way you wish. There is a way that heaven and or hell can be expressed on earth, a way it can be expressed on any other civilization's planet, a way it can be expressed in any dimensional level in which the concept of that type or degree of polarity may exist. But it is not unique unto its own place. It touches all levels in that sense, because any frequency can be said to be its own place. In that sense, you can say it is its own place. But both are places that bridge all and contain all other dimensions of experience. So you can be in either state wherever you are. It's up to you to choose which one you prefer and which one you believe is most representative of the being you prefer to be. You all follow along? Well, thank you very much. One other point. Simply in allowing yourself the ability to recognize that you can manifest heaven upon your earth, remember that desire to do so in and of itself, desire is in and of itself manifest ability. Desire is what physicalizes, materializes, manifests the belief blueprint you have drawn up in your imagination. So to simply know that you have chosen, consciously chosen, with your conscious commandment, the vibration you prefer, your desire to choose that vibration is all that is necessary to manifest the reflections of that vibration in your life. Now, some of you may wish to create processes between the desire and the manifestability, but when brought right down to basics, desire itself is manifest ability. The desire, strong enough, is enough to create it, to attract it. That is all. Any other process you invent, it is your enjoyment to do so. So enjoy the process if there must be one, and that enjoyment of any process between desire and manifestability will shorten the distance between them. We thank you, and at this timing, we will ask you, how may I be of service to you?
Good evening, Bashar.
And to you.
It's Joan.
Guy.
You knew that, didn't you?
Guy.
Yeah. I really want to thank you for what you've said this evening, because once again it helps me realize that it is that easy.
Right.
To want to enjoy life, to want it to be simple, to want it to be heavenly.
Right.
And it is.
Right.
And the more you get that idea, the happier you are.
Oh, thank you very much.
An upward spiral. So
Yes.
well, it's been very exciting this week, and I have something I want to share with you
All right.
and everybody else here. I received something in the mail that I thought was quite fascinating. It's called the Whale Adoption Project.
Right.
And apparently, a group calling themselves the International Wildlife Coalition has been studying a group of whales that live in the North Atlantic and cruise up and down the coast of Cape Cod and who knows where else. And they have identified over the last several years 70 individual whales and have actually taken pictures of their flukes as they dive and given them names and written up a little report about each one. And for $15, you can adopt a whale of your choice. And thereby, I love this idea. It so makes it so personal. And thereby assist this organization in making life on this planet safe for whales and bringing them under protection of all the nations on the planet. So I immediately went over the list. There is a list posted on the back bulletin board, and some of these flyers for all of you that are interested in having your very own whale, so to speak, or at least sharing that consciousness. And I adopted 3. Yes, you were going to say something?
Or simply commenting perhaps on the human adoption program the whales might have. Which in dream reality may have translated out into the concept of the Adopt a Whale program the humans came up with.
Perfect synchronicity.
Oh, yes.
Well, I just would like them to know I am definitely up for adoption. So, in looking over the list, I immediately found 2 names that I thought, of course, I've got to have Navajo, because that to me represents the planet itself.
All right.
Right. And then I came across Sirius. I thought, well, of course, I have to have Sirius.
Oh, of course. Oh.
Because obviously. And then I thought, now I need a whale to represent Essassani. What can I find on this list? And do you know, they had a name, Lightning. And I thought, how wonderful. How
Utar.
perfect. Utar?
Utar.
In Essassani means lightning? Thank you. Because I know Essassani means place of living light, and that you call yourself Sassani.
Right.
So those are the whales I chose, and I invite you all to go choose a whale this evening. And for those people that are going to be listening to the tape, you may write to the International Wildlife Coalition, 320 Gifford Street, Falmouth, Massachusetts. That's Falmouth, Massachusetts, 02540. And ask for your whale adoption list, and I'm sure they'll send you one.
Thank you very much for your share.
Thank you, Bashar. There's one thing I do want to mention in addition to this, and that is, a few weeks ago I shared a waking dream that I had when I went to the New Life Expo and heard 2 people channeling on Saturday night. Yes, thanks, Luanna. When I get up here and connect with this energy, I somehow lose where I am, or maybe I gain where I am. Anyway, at that time, I realized that for 3,000 people to be there, paying $20 to $25 a seat to see channeling, to me meant we are entering the 4th density reality on this planet. And my further vision that I forgot to mention was that I saw all these people going back to their homes and their little subdivisions and wherever they were scattering off to, and each of them being a spark that would ignite others to a new age reality. And then I just had this visualization of the entire planet, sparkling and lighting up as we each ignite each other. And I thought, this is fantastic because we are becoming Sasani ourselves.
Yes, living light.
So thank you very
We
much.
thank you for turning on the switch. Share it.
Hello, Bashar.
Hello.
I have a sharing.
All right.
Last Friday evening, I was created the opportunity to experience a Tibetan gong meditative experience.
All right.
And as that began, I remembered at that moment how you had last Thursday night described a way for a pregnant woman who wanted to create the idea of dolphins being present at the birth of her child.
Guys.
And so I immediately, through my imagination, created this ovoid blue egg of electromagnetic energy. And as it expanded, my consciousness expanded with it. And with the intention of making a dolphin contact. And at a certain point, a whitish membrane opened within that blue ovoid egg of consciousness. And I saw, a gateway, an opening. I should go through that. And immediately, exploded through it. And for about the next 10 or 15 minutes, I don't have a conscious recollection of my experience.
You had lots of fun.
I'm sure of that. Because when the consciousness did come back, I was in the water swimming with dolphins. And the water wasn't light, but it was murky or dark. And we're really having a good time. But I was looking, I go, now, where am I here? And so I said in my imagination, who am I? And as I said that, this sort of large, whitish dolphin comes up onto this flat rock that the water was lapping over around where we were swimming, turns its head and sort of shakes the water at me. And that recognition threw me into a sea of thought forms. Where there was different colors and every aspect of my being and its interconnectedness with other beings, other lives, every event in my life, wherever I would turn my attention, it would just shoot out into all these arms of ideas and concepts. And so I experienced that for a while. Meanwhile, I'm not even hearing the gong at all. I don't even know that that's there until I slowly seem to start withdrawing from that sea of thought forms of telepathy or whatever that experience was, seemingly that. And came back to the music, but it had been going for about 25 minutes by that time. And then came slowly back into my conscious reality of being in that room listening to the gong. And I wanted to share that as an experience that I'm sure everyone can create on their own. And also asked for an interpretation of, and I said, who am I, that white dolphin that came up on the rock? My idea is that it's either something in a past life of mine, or it's a guide in this life, or both. This means?
It is a strong Atlantean connection that way, and connecting with the dolphin astral form, it is a counterpart of you. You are a counterpart of it.
Okay.
You have been, as many of you have been, dolphin in certain lives, human in others in that way. And many of you still have strong connections to your dolphin counterpart aspects in the astral realm in that sense. So you were, in a sense, looking at a reflection of yourself in a different kind of mirror.
Okay, which immediately projected into the mental plane, if that was the next sea of...
Yes, in a sense.
I see. All right.
So that you know that everything is a part of the same sea, and that you swim in the same dream.
Mm.
It is all one sea, it is all one dream. Enjoy your future sea dream.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for your sharing and your willingness of blending.
And I have a question from Lynn Murrow, who wanted to know the different places on the planet that represented the chakras of the planet, especially the root chakra, the Kundalini. Is that right, Lynn? Okay.
There are areas in what you might call the Central African area on your planet, there are very powerful sources of connection to the power of the earth in that way. There are also, in what you call the Hopi settlement of Arabia, similar strong connections in what you call your Southwest United States area. There is also the crown chakra of Shasta, in that sense. There is also the third eye chakra of Tibet, in that sense. There is the heart chakra of Hawaii, in that sense. There is also, in what you call your South American, Central American region, certain aspects of the throat in that way. There are many also very strong vortices round about your planet. There are gateways to all the chakra points. And do remember that each and every one of you is a gate, as you are fundamentally connected to all the other gates upon your planet. You may find a desire within you to visit certain areas, to partake of the energy of that area, which may make it seem to be stronger for you. But whatever you are, and whatever your imagination is tuned to, will place you squarely in that chakra point, in that energy point. And you can make whatever connections you wish from wherever you are, for all places are within you. All right?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Hello, Bashar.
Hello.
Conscious commandment. I had a desire to be with dolphins Sunday evening in my dreams. So I consciously put myself in blue light.
All right.
And I got some extraterrestrial dream instead.
Instead?
Yeah. Where does conscious commandment play a part? I don't usually have dreams that I recall. And I woke up at 5 in the morning very excited with a lot of
obviously
energy.
your conscious commandment is working. There may have been a few mixed expectations in with it, but you did get what you asked for. And do remember that in many ways the dolphin society is very alien to you. And so in that sense you may have interpreted some of the blending of their energy as extraterrestrial, but the dolphin energy is blended with extraterrestrial consciousness, specifically Sirius and Arcturus. So you may pick up many flavors in one contact, but all the energy was there.
I'd like to share this dream and maybe you
All right.
could give me some insight. I was at my parents' house Sunday evening and I had the dream afterwards that I came out of their house into the driveway, which had been totally upheaved. The cement is all broken.
All right.
And there was a truck of a sort, almost like an army truck. And I could see through the window in a driver position, almost an ant face. Next to him were 4 to 5 male figures of sorts, dark skin, olive dark skin.
Hey.
And they were speaking to me telepathically. I could visualize almost words on a screen going by very quickly. And I remember them talking about the number 1010, to remember this, that I would need this number, that I would be musically teaching and learning a musical instrument. I would need foreign languages and I would be traveling a lot, and I needed to do all of these things and to remember all this. And it was very loving and I wasn't afraid and I was embracing all of this, listening. And it seemed just like I understood that I needed to do all this, and it was wonderful. And I went back inside and I drew someone out of the house and said, hey, look at this. Look who's here. And this person came out and I don't remember who it was. And he said, oh, isn't this great? Hello. And so, anyway, I extended my love to these 4 or 5 beings. And the next minute they were gone. And for some reason I thought it was a truck, but it just disappeared. And they were on a platform of a sort, a window, but it wasn't a truck.
You had an astral encounter with a spacecraft. It is a mixture of New Orion and reticulum energy. You were perceiving both races. This is because more paramount in your life right now are the specifics that you do need to learn, but regard the aspect and the understanding of the music as something that will also assist you in understanding the emotionality of communication between yourself and dolphin life as well. Certain aspects, certain connections that you have to certain civilizations of what you might call an extraterrestrial nature, once you get used to those connections, can allow you to expand to other levels, specifically the serious level, that will put you more directly in touch with the dolphin energy. But you can interact with dolphin at this time, specifically through the idea of tonal quality, music, and the same degree of empathy and compassion and love that you shared with them. They did give you an opportunity to exercise, to express that love, and the same type of communication can go on with dolphin consciousness. Now, in that particular interaction, the dolphin consciousness was present, but it was mostly, as you say, in the sidelines, watching. But they did put in, as you might say, their 2 cents. But it was with regard to the recognition of your affinity for the musical quality. You follow me?
Yes.
All you need to do is continue to act upon these ideas, and you will give yourself more recognition of the connections that you say you have desired. And by the way, you have not experienced the whole dream yet anyway.
I feel like there are parts I'm missing.
Oh, no. You have not experienced it yet.
Oh.
There is more to come. This is the first part of the conscious commandment you have exercised. It was the foundation that has been laid. It will continue. Why are you assuming that the dreams you request have to take place all within the span of one of your nights? It can bridge many nights, many interactions. You follow me?
Yes.
Your conscious commandment is still in effect, still going on. The momentum is still moving. You will discover the rest, all the different pieces. Let it all fall into place. Nothing has stopped. Nothing has ceased. All right?
All right.
Pleasant dreams.
Thank you. I have one other
All right.
question. I seem to have a great love for about the 1890s Paris art, artists, Impressionism, fashion. Did I live in those times?
Any such strong attraction to any particular historical era is usually an indication of that fact that you have a life there, yes. Explore to whatever extent you wish. It is up to you. But such attractions do not happen without a reason. Now, do remember, once again, that time is your illusion. So in many ways, that life still exists. And that is why anything you wish to discover about it is easily discovered based upon what aspects of it truly move your curiosity and excitement, because it is not so very far away. It is as simple as switching a dial and looking through the eyes of the you were then. Like looking through another window in the house in which you are presently living. Rather than truly thinking, well, I have to go back some dim, dark path, dredging up through, across the span of time, way back there. It is right here, right now, all within you. And for the you were then, this life is within that life as well. All lives bleed through to each other. There is leak through from every life to every other life. Whatever it is from any life that leaks through into any other life that causes you to have a pull, an attraction towards that life, are the aspects of that life that fit into whatever it is in this life you are doing. So you can draw from the total being that you are. Since in many ways you are an artist now.
Right.
So, merge and blend whatever your curiosity so desires. Use your imagination. Always, your imagination is the gate through which you can walk. All you need to do to allow yourself more freedom to do so is to stop asking yourself, is my imagination real? Or is that a real experience, or am I just imagining it? There is no difference between a real experience and one that you imagine. There may be different degrees of manifestation of the real experience in your particular realm, but that doesn't mean that just because you imagined it, it is not real. You cannot imagine non-existence. So anything you do imagine is on some level, somewhere, somewhen, real. You follow me?
You're speaking of the dream also.
Yes.
Thank you. That answered my question.
Thank you very much for being willing to exist on more than just one level.
Thank you.
Sure.
Good evening, Bashar.
And to you. Good day.
Good day. A few weeks ago, you commented on some of the properties and characteristics of these round stones that were found in Georgia that some people call cosmic eggs.
In its symbolic nature, yes, not in a literal physical nature.
I wonder if you could tell us the origin of these objects. Where do they come from?
This is not within our realm to do so at this time.
Okay.
Someone else will provide that information.
All right. I have 3 small crystals. Double terminated crystals that I got in a most unusual way from a most unusual man. And
you remember, before you go on, that acquiring things in the most unusual way is becoming, as you say, the most usual way of life.
Of course.
Do proceed.
Similarly, I wondered if you could comment on the origin of these crystals.
What is their nature? Define them and give their aspects.
They're about 3/4 of an inch long. They're double terminated. They're very small. They're about 1/8 of an inch in diameter. They're very light. They're not quartz crystals. Nobody seems to be able to identify them.
What is their coloration?
They're quite clear, like clear quartz crystals.
You may find certain individuals among you that may have identification for them in that way. What we perceive at this time is that you acquire them because they are representative of connections you have to individuals who have made different agreements and pacts with you through many different lives. They are an awakening symbol, a recognition symbol. They are, in a sense, calling cards, and because there are 3 of them, they are functional along the basic trinary level of creation. They are a way to remind you and awaken within you recognition of other individuals in your life at this time as associates from the past, so to speak, from the present, and from the future. That is one of the 3 representations of this idea. They are aligning crystals to bridge the gaps that are usually created in your society between the concept of past, present, and future. They are keys in that way to open the doors between the areas that you usually create barriers to exist. You follow me?
Very clearly.
That is our perception at this time. There are individuals with you tonight of your time who can place more identification upon them. Now that you have made them aware, at your break time, you may find some assistance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one brief last question
Oh,
having to do with the dolphins. When we met originally in October, I asked you about 2 islands in the Bahamas that we are in the process of acquiring at the time to create a dolphin center.
Yes.
Quite recently, in the last few weeks, we have encountered a benefactor who has offered to build us a research center in Florida, where we now are, to expand our facility, to purchase it, to fix it, and so forth and so on. It seems to be real because the dolphins are very excited. They've been jumping up and down for 3 days since this whole thing began to be discussed here in California. And I guess my question is, you said some wonderful things about those 2 islands in the Bahamas.
One thing leads to another. Act upon whatever opportunities present themselves to you that excite you now that you are capable of acting on, and one thing that excites you now is a thread that will lead to all other things that excite you, one step at a time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sure.
Hello, Bashar.
Hello.
I have been in the process of becoming aware in my dreams. And recently in conversation with you, I mentioned to you about a friend of mine, Sandra or Sandy Keys, who has recently passed away about 1.5 years ago. And she, after our conversation, came to me in a dream, and she did in this dream, she did in that dream, I was with, I believe I was with somebody else that's here right behind me going to ask a question. And we did a healing together. We did a healing of 2 people. And Sandy came up to me, we were walking down the street, and said, do you want to go with me? And I said, yes. She grabbed my hand, and we went up to this woman's house. And we were about to go through the walls of the house, and I said, no, wait a minute, thinking from a third density point of view, you can't do that. And she said, no problem. We went right through. And we came upon a woman that had recently lost her child and was there crying and moaning about the baby. There was like a small crib that she was rocking back and forth. And we did a lot of healing for the woman, and then we left. And we went to somebody else's house and helped to heal them, and I saw what I believed to be were large centipedes or something like that on the ground, and was afraid to step on them. She said, "Don't worry, they won't hurt you. They're the things that are the things people draw to them in diseases."
Thoughts, in a sense.
Thoughts, right. Thought forms. And I was afraid. She said, no, don't worry.
Oh, you are in the astral realm.
Yeah.
Nothing can touch you in that sense.
I realized that. We were talking up a storm the whole time this was happening. And then we went out of this guy's house, and we saw him in a car, and he was to stop somewhere, and it was like an indication of he was to stop at a light, and he didn't, or make a stop, and it was an indication if he received the healing that we gave to him, and he didn't stop. And the next thing I knew is I was looking at her, and it felt like her head, part of her head was like dissolving, and I was looking into her brain, and I realized later that was, and it didn't scare me or frighten me or anything, it was just looking at her. And it was like she was showing me something about the impermanence of of a physical body, as if that would be the way of communicating to her, and that it's not that important. And then I felt that I swallowed something and woke up feeling that she had poked me a couple of times on the right side of my ribs. And as I often described her in this dream of us poking one another. It was astounding and ecstatic, and I was overjoyed by the whole experience.
Thank you for allowing your physical dream and your non-physical dream to blend and merge so that you can live your dreams. You know, many of you are of quite a bit more assistance than you know in your dream lives to other individuals. You all have things that you do. Many of you have dream jobs, in a sense. And many of you do go about assisting other individuals in many different ways. As you begin to blend these two realms together, the non-physical and the physical, all of these different levels, particularly what you call the astral level immediately above your physical level, will begin to materialize into your world. So that interacting with beings on that level will become quite commonplace. And they will be able to have more interaction with you. That fluid communication will create an ability for individuals to not have to feel they are stuck between one level or another, or fear the symbols that are created to represent their fears that manifest in those astral realms. Thank you for having the willingness to go exploring and to bring a bit of where you went back to your own level. More and more blending. We thank you. That makes a difference on many levels and allows many more things to be possible in your society. Enjoy.
I do. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next time, say hi for us.
I will. In fact, I did. I asked her if she knew you. She said she did.
Thank you.
Hi, Bashar.
Hi.
Last Saturday, I what people say is sick, and it was in my abdomen, and it was on the left and right side. And they took me to the hospital because it was so severe pain. And they took tests, they gave me medicine, they took blood and everything, and they didn't know what it was. And they said, well, since you're feeling better, we're going to let you go home, and it will be a mystery.
Oh, mystery.
And that I would know what it was. And I was wondering why I created the situation for myself and what was the sickness.
Do you find that it is time you, in one sense, have allowed it to be demystified? How long did it take for the situation to alleviate itself? Approximately what you would call 1 to 2 of your days? How long?
About 3.
3. All right. How do you feel now?
Not too great, but okay.
Not too great, but okay. All right. One idea is to simply allow you to know that regardless of the structure of information that has been set up on your society, regardless of the structure that you refer to as authority, even to that structure there are many things that are a mystery. And that you are your own final answer. You are your own exploration of any mystery you create. Everything does occur for a reason, and many of the reasons can be extremely simple. The reasons in and of themselves do not have to be mysterious in that way. Many of the things that individuals may not understand at any given moment, they, as you say, chalk it up to mystery. But that may simply be another way of saying that you do not have to have conscious analytical awareness of all the things that occur in your life for why they occur at that given moment, but that somewhere down the road it will make itself clear, make itself plain. Now, one of the ideas was to allow you to know that you don't necessarily have to worry about relying upon the authoritative structure so much, and that you eventually will alter yourself one way or another, regardless of what they say they can or cannot do. It allows you to go through a door of trust regarding authority, and allows you to know that the final authority is in you. That is one of the reasons you created that idea, because in the past, you see, you have created in many different lives many run-ins, as you say, with authority in that way. Now you have given yourself an opportunity to know you are relaxing your creation of authority's hold over you. You can interact with them freely. You can allow them to be who they are, and you can discover that even the authority that is supposed to know everything still contains mystery and room for exploration, so that you will become more equal with them in that way. And they, in a sense, will then not have to create a gut ache in that sense in you. You will learn how to allow yourself to encompass them. They will learn how to allow themselves to encompass you, so that you can allow each other to be who you are and respect each other for what you are, and not thinking that any one of you has to be more right than the other. There are a few aspects of this idea that your guides have to share with you as well. And this will be shared perhaps in some of the events that occur in your daily life or in your dream realities beginning tonight of your time. But in a sense, you have taken yourself through a process, and you have allowed that process to take you beyond the old expectations of the old society, placed you on a different level. Recognize in many ways that you were clever in doing what you did, and the experience you created was not unlike the experience that many other individuals have had, and the physical channel before you has had. For recognize that that particular area of abdominal pain is an area your medical practitioners have absolutely no way of doing anything with. There was nothing they could do for you. That is an area outside their understanding, but not outside yours. You created an occurrence that they desired to assist you with, but could not because of the limitations they had placed upon themselves. More and more individuals that give them the opportunity to recognize that there is something here that they are out of touch with will allow them to explore more and more in different areas, now knowing that the studies they already have do not answer it all. You are luring them, in a sense, out of their shell in many ways. And that is one of the reasons you have co-created that with them, and you have in many ways also used it as a part of your own process to take you through a gate. Sometimes those gates are painful simply because of the expectations and belief systems you have been brought up with in your society, but bit by bit, those gateways and processes will become less and less and less painful. What is your physical age?
11.
You are at a master number. 22 and 33 are also master numbers at which you may experience another large threshold gate, but you have actually adopted at this age an idea that it takes many other individuals until the year 33 to act out. You have cut that into thirds, and so you are accelerating that much more quickly. We thank you for your boldness in that way, for it will make a difference in any other interactions you now have from this point forward in your life regarding what you decide needs to be mysterious or can simply be understood for the commonplace occurrence that it is and the creation that it comes from you and serves all individuals involved. It is not isolated within you. Just what do you have to gain from it or learn from it, but also what's their part, your medical world, whoever else you interact with, have also to learn from it. You're a very bold teacher in that way. You will be boldly teaching for quite some time. And each interaction that you have in our perception will become more and more bold as time goes on. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sharing.
Hi, Bashar.
One moment. To the individual we were just speaking with, there is another name, another vibration that has to do with you, and we find to our great joy that we are allowed now by your guides to share it with you. In no way, shape, or form do we mean this name to elevate you in ego above and beyond anyone else, but it is something that you may cherish and hold within you, and that name is Bright Star. Thank you, Bright Star. Continue.
I wanted to ask you about the direction of my life.
That way. Turn left at the corner.
That's how I came here.
Now, first of all, before we continue, you know that we are not making fun of you yet. We are creating fun with you.
I understand.
And this is one of your answers right here. The idea of the direction of your life. Allow it, in whatever way you do choose to go, at least allow it to contain some fun, some laughter, some lightness. Go on.
I usually do.
All right. Continue.
I wanted to, my life seems to be in a third phase is kind of how I put it. I want to backtrack just a little bit.
All right.
In 74, I met my spiritual guru, and I studied with him for about 9 years and traveled with him, and I went through a lot of transformation, understanding, surrender, and a lot of training.
All right.
He left his body in 82.
Hey.
And then I kind of came out and got a job and started working, and I was doing that for about 3 years. And now at the beginning of this year, it seems like my spiritual direction has drastically changed.
It always will.
And a lot of people and a lot of events are coming to me to be involved in spiritual work rather than manifesting out, so to speak, normal work out in the world. And
we understand.
I'm trying to be open to my direction.
All right. But again, do remember that much of what you are describing is becoming the normal work out in the world.
Right.
So you're not alone. Manifesting your direction is simply a matter of deciding what excites you the most in all the things you are offered. Excitement is your key. Which one do you prefer above and beyond all others? Which excites you the most? Whichever one it is, follow it. Excitement is the key. Excitement is the vibration of ecstasy that represents who you are, who you can most effortlessly be.
So,
are you willing to believe it is that easy?
Yes.
All right. Then it is that easy. There is no need to be in a quandary about the direction of your spiritual growth. First of all, do remember, you are a spirit. Anything you do will be a spiritual act. If you decide that it is in the direction of your growth, then it is an act of spiritual growth. Your body is not what your spirit is in. Your body is your spirit in physical terms. So, whatever you decide represents the thing that excites you the most. That is the light that shines most brightly in the direction you can go. It is that easy. Excitement is the thread that leads to all other excitement. Excitement is the translation of the energy that represents the path you chose to be and represents the path you can be most effortlessly and the path that will support you most abundantly. Excitement tells you all these things. It is the one sign you usually all ask for. Give me a sign. Please. Oh universe, oh all that is, oh God, please tell me. Give me a sign. The sign is called excitement. That is the sign. Because it is the vibration that is straight ahead. It's the frequency that is straight ahead. So follow it with integrity. You will always be supported in whatever way abundance needs to manifest in your life to allow you to continue to be the exciting being you have chosen to be. It is that simple. Let it be that simple, if you will. Does this assist you?
yes, it does.
Anything else?
No.
Why? Then, enjoy. And we thank you for your joy. Sure.
Hi, Bashar.
Hi.
This is my first time coming forward. You've answered all my questions during all the other sessions that I've been here, and I thank you for that. I did want to ask...
One moment. We thank you for creating and allowing with us to be a reflection of that which you already knew. You answered your questions. You follow me?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. I had other questions while I was sitting here, and I answered those.
How force density of you?
I don't know how to phrase this. I'd like you to shed some light on a situation that happened to me the last Sunday in January. I was on a business trip in San Francisco, and I was there over the weekend. And for some reason, I had this something that I had to write a short story, and it was about the 3 bridges that cross the bay. I crossed 2 of them on a very rainy, stormy day, wrote part of the story, and couldn't quite make it to the 3rd bridge. I was discussing it with a friend, and in talking, we decided the 3rd bridge, which was the Golden Gate, which leads north of San Francisco and away, was also leading to something unknown, as well as something very exciting and sort of growing.
Okay.
So the next day, that Sunday, was a sunny, bright day everywhere, except when I crossed the bridge and went to the beach, it was in a fog.
Okay.
And the cloud formation did not look like anything I'd ever seen, quote unquote, in this lifetime, but it looked very familiar.
Okay.
And I hadn't planned on getting out of the car or anything, but I ended up doing that. Walking towards the shore, there were all kinds of cliffs and high rocks. And I decided to go ahead and climb the rock.
All right.
Everything was fine until, as I was climbing, I rounded a corner and there was a slide area, and of course it broke away. And I all of a sudden came face to face with my fear of heights, and I froze, and I couldn't move at all. And even though there was people, everything there, I felt like I was totally alone and in communication with someone or something, what. And I decided that I couldn't leave, that I had to climb to the top of the mountain, and that for some reason I got there to work through this symbol, and I just wanted to know there was more to it than just learning to be alone with a big fear and overcome it.
Very well done. We have also discussed a certain technique and exercise that we refer to as the Golden Gate. It being that you begin to form, as you were doing, connections to your higher self, your future self. That is the dialogue you had, in a sense. But the Golden Gate represents you as a gate, and on one side is the fluid, the golden energy, the light, out of which you crystallize your physical reality. As you pass the fluid through you and allow it to crystallize on the other side, it becomes the physical reality you experience. The Golden Gate idea is in recognizing that the flow of energy does not simply go one way, but goes both ways. And that when you change an idea, what you do is you allow the crystallization to melt, dissolve back through the gate in that sense, become fluid and plastic again, so that you can allow it to come back through and recrystallize in a new format, as a new you. You. The you are now is not the you that went up that hill.
That's true.
You are literally a different person. Literally a different crystallization. You walked through the gate, through the Golden Gate, and came back as more of your higher self. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And you.
Thank you. Bye.
Sherry.
Hello, Bashar.
Hello.
I have a question with regards to some changes that I've been going through in the last year.
All right.
I have always had a very good idea about my direction as far as my career and what it would take for me to be fairly comfortable with myself.
Fairly. All right.
Fairly. And
well, does that mean relatively comfortable or comfortable in fairness?
That's a very good question.
Oh, thank you.
I don't exactly know how to answer.
Oh, that is all right.
Okay.
We like to play around a little bit.
I do too. That's okay. In any event, with that direction in mind, I have, over the years, created obstacles for myself that have tended to repeat themselves.
That is an illusion. Nothing truly repeats, for it is never the same time. In that sense, it is always now, but it is never the same now. The illusion of repeatability is only there because of the assumption of repeatability. The assumption that the outward appearance has to carry the same meaning with it every time. Not so. The meaning you decide to give it based upon how you think you have changed over the years will allow the outward symbol to transform when you stop putting the same meaning into the same outward symbol. It will change into another outward symbol. And therefore it will not be an obstacle, but will be able to be seen by you to be a part of the path you are, not an interruption in it. You follow me so far?
Yes, I do. I have a question. I don't know if it's a little on the broad side. However, would like to know if my career and the way that I have chosen to direct myself towards it now is going to work out the way I want it, if it's going to benefit me, or if I should maybe be finding a different way to go.
My, what a complicated
I
question.
know.
It is not that the answer in that sense is complicated. The structure of the question is complicated. And that is what seems to complicate the answer. If I should, I wonder, my career. Now, you have heard us discussing the idea of what excites you, yes? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What do you think about the idea? What do you understand about the concept of simply following what excites you and allowing that to let whatever your career is unfold naturally? What do you think about that concept? Can you use it? Is it something you can use? Is it something you can trust?
Not always.
All right, your choice. Why not? When do you think you can trust the idea of following your excitement, and when do you think you can't?
I'm not always sure of it.
Sure of what? What excites you?
Right.
All right. But perhaps you are...
Changeable of it.
Oh, yes, oh, yes, oh, yes. But changeability has nothing to do with whether you are sure or not. You may think it is. Many individuals in your society, because they are taught to believe in unchanging stability, which is of course a contradiction. Change is the only stable condition in creation, therefore that change itself is a stabilizing condition. But you have been taught to think of static as stable. Therefore, when things do begin to change, you cannot find a way to hang on to it, to define it as something stable. Because you don't think it is, but it actually is. More stable than being static. Which is more stable, walking or trying to stand on one leg? You follow me?
Yes, I do.
Therefore, allow yourself first of all to recognize that of course it will always fluctuate. Of course it will always change. But that doesn't mean you can't be aware of where your excitement lies. Simply redefine the idea. You will know you are always very aware. Now, might be that your definition of how you are looking seems to make it difficult to find it. And that simply means that when you say, well, what excites me? You may be looking for the thing that will excite you above and beyond anything else you will ever do in your life. Now, that may not come to you at that moment. However, if you keep the concept very simple, very basic, you will know that when we say, well, what excites you, we mean what at this moment, out of all the things you are aware of that you can do at this moment, is the thing that excites you the most, that you are capable of doing. Doing that, because excitement leads to all other excitement, will automatically, step by step, lure you into whatever other scenarios will give you the capability to act upon anything else later that excites you that you may not be capable of acting on now. So, keep it simple. As an example, not because it is specifically us, but since you are in this interaction this evening of your time, we will assume that this, at this moment, is what excites you more than anything else you can think of doing. If this conversation, as you say, takes a second seat to something else at this moment that does excite you more, go and do it. Because that's where you belong. So simply ask yourself, if this is what excites you, out of all the things you could be doing right now the most, we welcome you. After this interaction, what, out of all the things that will be available for you to do, will be the thing that excites you the most at any given moment? Take it a step at a time, a moment at a time. Then you will place yourself in the habit of acting spontaneously, instinctively, on whatever it is at any given moment does represent the thing that excites you at that moment. And bit by bit, that will lure you into all the other things in your life that will ever excite you. And when you arrive at all those other things, because you went through all the things you did before that excited you, when you arrive at each and every new thing that excites you, you will have right there with you in hand all the tools necessary to be able to do the next thing that excites you. Automatically. Effortlessly. Abundantly. Instantly. Joyfully. How does that sound?
Sounds great. Thank you.
Do you find that you, in your terms, can understand this idea and allow yourself to believe it is that simple?
Yes, I do.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
Enjoy. Sharing.
Hi, Bashar.
Hi.
I'm Cynthia. This is my first time here, and I've really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Oh, I've enjoyed you all. Thank you very much.
I've enjoyed everybody too. Gosh, this what you talked about this evening is exactly what I've been reading in a book this week. So I guess there was a reason
Oh
for me
no,
being
more synchronicity. Once you go into fourth density, can't seem to get rid of that pesky synchronicity. Everything just keeps cropping up coincidentally at the same place at the same time with exactly all the individuals who need to be there. What are we going to do about this? If this is not stopped pretty soon, it might infect the whole planet.
Thank you for sharing that. I have a question I'd like to ask you pertaining to twin flames or soulmates.
Yes.
I've recently become engaged with somebody, and I feel a very strong bond with them, so
yes.
much so that...
Many lives together.
That is one of the questions I wanted to ask you, but is there such a thing as coming from the same
Yes.
flame?
Yes.
Is that a possibility that I can...
It is very typical. Understand, the oversoul that you are usually has many counterparts. You may make an agreement as one aspect of the oversoul with another aspect of the oversoul to reflect to you certain ideas within yourself at a given moment in your physical life. And that is usually what you call the twin flame or the soulmate. But in all reality, even though other individuals may not be a part of the same oversoul, immediately, on one level, of course, everyone is a part of the same infinite oversoul, and therefore anyone at any given moment you are interacting with in any type of relationship is, in one sense, a soulmate. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
But you can make special agreements, if you will, specific agreements, if you will, with certain aspects to reflect to you. When you allow yourself to arrive at a certain point in your life that represents your ability to know yourself as your own complete relationship, and then allow another individual to reflect and share that knowledge back to you equally. You follow me?
Yes, I do. That could pertain to a parent as well, couldn't it?
Oh, yes. But we understand the term in which you mean it, and this is specifically the case you are discussing now.
Oh, great. Okay. One other question. Will I ever connect with my mother again? She's left this plane.
In your terms, how long ago?
She died 7 years ago. 7 years ago.
In your terms of what?
Of this life. She passed on.
Do you mean in your terms of natural causes?
Yes. She's of an enlarged heart. Is that what you're asking me? How she died?
Yes.
Yeah, an enlarged heart. I want to know if I'll ever be in touch with her again.
Oh, you have been through your dreams many times.
And how about in one instance that occurred a few months ago, in back home in the house that we grew up in together, and I came home and after leaving, do you know what I'm talking about?
Did you have a strong emotional release?
A tremendous one, and also a physical sign I thought from her with a beam of light, a tremendous
In a
beam
sense,
of light.
yes, yes. It has allowed in many ways, using her manifestation symbolically, it has allowed your heart to expand, to enlarge. But not in a detrimental way. Do you follow me? It has filled you with the emotional self. And that, in many ways, that expansion, that enlargement of your empathy, your compassion, your heart energy, is also what has allowed for the solidification and the attraction into your life of the twin flame, in that sense.
So it's her way of saying it's all okay? Is that?
Of course. Do remember that from that level, everything is all okay. It is her way of simply sharing that she still loves you very much, that all messages on one level are received, but that she is on and about her life while still reflecting as a guide in many ways, but that you are also on and about your life, and what took her through the gate takes you through another type of gate, even while you are still physically alive. The enlargement of the heart, energy.
Okay.
We thank you for your loving sharing.
Thank you very much for the answer.
You may all, at this timing, enjoy a short break, and we will resume contact momentarily. How's everything going?
Thank you. There's refreshments over here. If you want any cake, you can see Lynn, who's around the corner there making cake. So you can have tonight's cake tonight, by the way. We have 2 high-speed cake duplicators.
All right, okay. Continue.
Hi, Bashar.
One moment.
Okay.
Would you like, one more time, to speak? Everything quite friendly, quite enjoyable. All individuals, all people are your friends, love you, support you, and would enjoy what you have to share. Everything you have to say, they will treat as a gift. It's up to you. Then, in your heart, allow yourself to know we will speak in your dreams. When it is quiet and we are alone. Thank you for your willingness to be here this night of your time. Thank you. Our love to you. Continue. Hi.
I would like to explore with you further in regards to the letter D, and you said nomenclature. If you just elaborate a little on that. In regards to nomenclature,
we, in this way, for you, at this time, in our perception, represent the placeholder. Nomenclate that opportunity, that availability to name something, to understand its vibration. It is, in a sense, like unto what you call the parentheses in your grammar, that you can fill in. Now, the essence is there, no matter what label you apply upon it. To some degree, that letter is similar to our translation of one of the worlds in our system, which in our ancient language is called Bamar. Bamar means the zone, the area, the holding place, the placeholder, that which represents something unidentified, but of which the essence is felt nonetheless. Z, your letter, functions much the same way. It functions as a dial. It functions as a translation device. It functions as that which can connect into many different frequencies, many different vibrations, by which you can know the essence of them, but not necessarily that you must label them anything beyond. The, in that sense, the placeholder, in that sense, the end of your alphabet, the end, the omega, in that sense, the other side of the polarity that you are exploring. In many ways, it simply allows you to attach something without necessarily rigidizing it by a full label. It is a tool of flexibility. Many things can occur within the zone, and you can lump them all under the nomenclature of the zone without necessarily having to identify each and every one of them to get some use out of them. You follow me?
Yeah, they're just included within the zone.
Yes, in a sense. The idea now is for blending, not separating. It is therefore a limbo nomenclature. And many references, many names that are given to many of you in the contacts you make within your own channeling, some of the names may begin with Z in that sense, and that lets you know that it is being used as a placeholder, that it will do. For now, the energy is real, the name is not important. You follow me?
Yes.
Does that assist?
Yes. I'd like to ask you something that branches off from that, the letter Z and the angles of the E and the A. And the other day, he told me to make a little, if I wanted to, a lapis triangle.
Yes.
Or tetrahedral.
Yes.
And I got both of them made, more or less.
All right.
Close enough. I was playing with this flat triangle, and I was just thinking what it would look like if I was in one of the angles. I would see 2 points,
yes.
And if I was on one of the sides, I would see 1 point. And just in regards to vibrations and angles, and if you could say anything about those.
Well, as you have said, the triangle tetrahedral structure is the basic building block of the physiological universe. All structures in the physical universe are based upon the tetrahedral pattern. And the one representational symbol that can define all aspects of physics, all understandings of vibratory awareness within the dimension you call physical, can be gleaned and derived from the one symbol of a tetrahedron that points up and a mirror image that points down. For it contains, in its definition, all the dimensional definitions that describe and define what you call the physical reality. So it is that which allows you to work with the fundamentals of creation, the template upon which all physical reality is based, is patterned, all things occurring in threes in that way, so that any two will support the one, the apex, the foundation, and the apex. The totality of your consciousness, the three sides of the prism that you are as an artificial personality construct. Belief, emotion, and thought. Does that assist you?
Yes, thank you.
Mind you.
I just want to share that I've heard it a million times, things like imagination creates reality, and I just like thinking it was either yesterday or today, like really is becoming more and more real. The imagination is real.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sharing.
Hello, Bashar.
Hello.
I come here not knowing what I'm going to ask you about.
Oh, spontaneity. Thank you.
Trusting that a bit, yes.
Yes.
The thing that excites me most at the present time is darkness. and I've been channeling darkness, and different aspects of it have been emerging, and I would welcome any input you have on this concept and the experience of darkness.
First, our congratulations at your willingness to understand that you have reached a point of personal power wherein you know that nothing you could explore on either polarity will ever be more powerful than you. So it is a reflection of your willingness to know you are centering, balancing, and from that point of view, the exploration, the observation of your preferences are all equalized on the same level. You are now getting in touch with the idea of the polarity within you that you may refer to as darkness, knowing that anything you will discover in that darkness, you will be able to transform through the light of your consciousness into a positive reality, a reality of light. You are now willing to know there is nothing within the darkness you could ever stumble across, nothing within the darkness you could ever discover that could not become a part of the light you prefer to be. This is using the foundation of the triangle with the polarity of light on one side, the polarity of darkness on the other, blending them to be able to create the apex, to elevate and enlighten yourself by including the totality of yourself, which then allows you to have a base upon which the apex can stand. And of course, that apex, that pyramid, that triangle, being fundamentally where the symbol of the wizard's hat comes from to begin with. Thank you. Does that assist?
Yes, it does. I would like to explore further two aspects of this.
All right.
One has to do with channeling what was a high suspension bridge. It's about 10 feet wide, and it was sagging toward the center. And it seems like I'm walking down this bridge, but not getting anywhere.
All right.
Okay, that's one thing.
All right.
The other has to do with this book, Communion. Having read this book, I come away from it with a feeling of perhaps sadness, because the book is couched in terms, as I read it, in terms of physical suffering, extreme fear on the part of the author, and the story, I pretend, when it gets out into the public, will not convey the kind of message that you and Lazard and others like that are conveying about extraterrestrials and other levels of consciousness.
Not so. For recognize, if you will, perhaps reread that idea, you will discover, now looking at it from the other side of the bridge, from the positive aspect, that the author came to many realizations that the source of all of the discomfort and fear that was felt came from him and was not inherent in the interaction. The author made many realizations of this nature and has, in your terms, done quite a creditable job of owning his fear in the interaction. And this will come out. It will come out. But again, you have the opportunity of viewing it from either side of the bridge and allowing that to be blended and balanced, and knowing that everything manifests in perfect timing will allow the bridge to be straight and true and allow communion to happen across in two directions, rather than feeling that there is a midpoint that no one will be able to cross. Everything is going quite nicely from our point of view.
Okay, another manifestation of this has to do with this game that's going around town called Airplane. And undoubtedly you know about it, and it seems to elicit a lot of feelings about money, worthwhileness, guilt.
The whole spectrum, as you say.
The whole spectrum, correct.
All right.
I would welcome some comments about that.
All we will say at this time is, any tool you attract into your life, use it if you feel it is an expression of your integrity. If you, in viewing the overall idea, feel that to become involved with any tool will be an expression of the lack of your integrity or the support of, in that sense, a situation which may instill within others more capacity to play victim, then decide whether or not you wish to become involved. It's totally up to you. Your perspective, in many ways, will determine the aspects of the whole idea you encounter. Your belief systems going in will determine, in many ways, the outcome. But take into consideration simply what your beliefs about the whole idea are, and let that be your guide as to your participation.
It seems to hold the choice of treating it as a third density game or a fourth density game.
There is always every aspect. And they are completely different games.
If I were to play as a fourth density game, that would mean that everyone would always win. There would never be a loser.
Yes.
And that it would go on indefinitely. And it would mean, for me personally, a very almost instantaneous transition into fourth density.
Yes. But we cannot recommend. It is up to you.
Well, I wasn't asking for it.
We know, but others were.
Oh, I see. Thank you.
Thank you
Good to be
very
with you
much.
again in this close range.
We are never far apart.
Yes.
Thank you. Our hearts, with all of you, are always touching. Sharing.
Good evening, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I want to ask you some questions about yourself and your world, if I can.
Of course.
I haven't been here only for a few weeks, and I guess I missed some stuff that you probably already talked about. In terms of the different vibrational level that your world is as opposed to ours, is the physical reality in your world the same or similar to our world?
Similar, yes.
You have bodies?
Yes.
Are your bodies like ours in terms of 2 arms, 2 legs, and that sort of thing?
In that sense, you would call it humanoid, as we have referred to you very often as Sassani-ish. We are of average 5 feet of your height, whitish gray skin coloration.
Is a humanoid or a Sassani type body a common thing throughout the various universes?
Within a particular frequency range, yes. Understand again that usually any society that begins to explore space will usually run into and attract to themselves those that are similar to their vibration first, so they can get used to the idea that there are other beings at all. Then, bit by bit, as you expand your awareness of the different frequencies, you can encounter very different societies from your own.
So if your world is a different vibration level, it's still a close frequency to ours?
Yes.
If I were to fly towards your world, would I ever get to it?
If you made the frequency shift, yes.
Okay.
If you stayed in your own realm, you would go right through it. Okay. As we would go right through your own without making the frequency shift.
So when your spaceship is here, it's physically here? If it were,
because we make the frequency shift.
I could touch it and it would be
Oh, yes.
Okay. Now, another question. You have an excellent command of English.
I do not speak English at all.
Okay, Daryl speaks.
We are simply activating whatever within the channel's vocabulary is necessary to translate the content.
So, that was my question. Would you, when you're speaking to us through Daryl, could you speak to us in French or Japanese or German?
Only if the translation device is programmed with those languages.
Okay. So, another question, in terms of telepathy, when I was growing up, my concept of telepathy was if you're telepathic, you could understand and know everything of any being you come into contact with.
Not always.
That's not the truth.
Not always. Telepathy, if you wish, perhaps more precisely defines the idea. And the idea is that you are on a similar frequency. Now, you can understand quite a bit, but it may not be necessary for you to understand absolutely everything there is to understand about that being, except what it is that the interaction is for going on between you at that given moment. That you can fully understand. But recognize that telepathy, once again, is not directly the reading of minds. It is identification strongly with another individual, so that you are both interpreting primal energy in similar thought patterns. You are creating the same thought patterns, mimicking their thought patterns, and that is how you know what they think, quote unquote.
The emotions are creating what you understand?
Telepathy is an emotionally activated response. That is why individuals that are most often in your world considered to be in love are the ones that most often, as you observe them, the ones that know each other's thoughts most quickly. Because being in love is expressing telepathy. You act as another individual. You are in synchronous accord with them, so you share and create similar thoughts at the same time. That is how telepathy works. You're not actually going into their mind and pulling out the information. You are thinking along the same line.
I think I understand.
Thank you. I know you do.
Okay, I have a personal question. Over a period of 10 years, I shared my life with a monkey. And often, a lot of the dreams that I recall, that during that period, she was in the dreams as representing this or that, I'm not quite sure what, but she was in a number of my dreams. Ever since she died, she has not been in any of my dreams. And I was wondering if you could explain. First of all, I'm kind of curious in terms of animals, in terms of especially an animal like that was so close to me in terms of the way she thought and so on, what the relationship is between a human and a primate like that, and also in terms of reincarnation, and just why I would have seen her in my dreams when she was alive and I'm not now. Is
this the consideration you call a monkey or an ape?
This is a monkey. This is a Capuchin monkey.
Recognize in this way, animal consciousness in general is an extension, an expression of the collective consciousness you are as a society. It is reflections and aspects of the different aspects of you, all of you, in many different ways. In this particular sense, the conversation, as we perceive it, that went on between you while physical life was maintained, was reflective of some of the ideas you were discovering about yourself, some of your natural connection to creation in many ways, and also with you a specific connection to a second density consciousness, so that you could incorporate what might be called second density consciousness, that which was prior to all that you all know as your civilization, but yet to which you are connected as another level, another world, the earth, if you will, that existed before the earth you now know. And in that sense, from which your present situation was created. In drawing that connection together, and then in finally incorporating it within yourself, you remove the need for the reflection outside yourself. The communication now goes on within you, rather than between you and another level. You follow me?
Yes.
You are now those two levels. And now you are gathering up the second, which of course already implies that the first was absorbed, to the third, and now accelerating to the fourth. For recognize, the idea of acceleration from level to level, density to density, dimension to dimension, is not at the exclusion of all the dimensions you have gone through. It is at the integration and incorporation of all dimensions you have gone through. Fourth density is the blending of the third, the second, and the first.
That was my next question.
Thank you.
But in terms of individual energy, would she, as a monkey and what personality she had, is she reincarnatable, or is her energy?
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. Now, that particular consciousness is now undergoing a transcendence of evolution in soul terms, and will now, if she chooses, begin a new cycle of incarnation out of the old cycle, and can begin the idea you would call, we understand this may be very confusing in many ways, there is not the time to explain the whole evolutionary cycle, but would now begin the cycle you would call proto-human. And then will go on and create her own third density reality. and move on as you forth eventually in time. Reincarnation, when you are in a cycle, usually reincarnates from what you are into a similar idea. Mm-hmm. But there are, from different reincarnational cycles, evolutionary steps as well. And that being is now beginning an evolutionary step into a different layer, a different level. So, while she has served you in many ways, you have served her by letting rub off on her some of the aspects by which she can evolve into what you now call the proto-human consciousness, to become more of, let us say, an aware aspect of the consciousness of which she is a part. A deterministic aspect, rather than simply, in your terms, an instinctive one. Is this making sense to you?
Yes, it is.
Does that assist you?
Yes, thank you very much. I have one brief more thing.
Brief more, all right.
Since everything is synchronistic,
yes,
would it not make more sense to speak of other lives as opposed to past lives?
It is up to you. We simply use the colloquial terminology, since for many individuals it is, in your terms, easier for them to understand what we are referring to, whereas sometimes other lives may carry a specific reference across the time track you are living in now. But yes, they are all simultaneous, and all lives simply are other lives. And even that is a separation. All lives are one life expressing itself in all the ways it can.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Sharing.
Hi.
Hi.
Good evening. My
Good
name is
day.
Maggie. I'd like to thank you for sharing your time with us.
Oh, all the time in creation. My pleasure entirely.
My stomach is feeling earnestly. It's probably about to chicken out too. But I think I have to get through this, and I'd like to ask for your help.
Share, do share.
If I possibly have the power, the willpower, and the energy to go through with my vision,
Yes.
I dreamed about and visualized
Yes.
due to several events which have occurred over the past year. For example, my vision was to create a special organization
Yes.
which would go on for years and years to come. Organizations for concerned drivers, consider people, and support the good habits, support positive spirits, and guide bad spirits or bad drivers, or in that sense.
Yes.
And the events have occurred, but I've had a bad accident due to a rowdy driver. I've been out of work for some time.
All right.
I've had other infections, and also other events that occurred, which kind of led me to that position, or led me to the vision to create such an organization.
All right. So you have used these experiences in a positive direction.
Yes, I have.
Thank you.
And I feel real strongly that I'm being pushed to do such work.
In a sense, yes. But do not forget, you are doing half the pushing. One hand is the guide, one hand is yours. It is always 50-50.
Okay.
Or if you wish, 100-100.
At this point, I feel like I'm at a narrow path. And I jump off the cliff and go ahead with my willpower I have available, or I wait until I get some other event happening to me in order to go ahead with my
All you need to do is act upon any opportunity that presents itself to you that excites you the most, as we have been discussing. Now, this does not necessarily have to involve, willpower in the sense that most of you usually mean that. We are not necessarily implying that you mean it this way, but as a delineation, most individuals that we have communicated with in your society, when they say willpower, usually evoke pictures of struggle, of conflict, of force. Willpower, the exercising of willpower, is an allowance, not a struggle. It is simply the knowingness that you are the strength relative to the idea.
Okay.
that your ability, once again, to desire it is your ability to manifest it. So act upon whatever excites you the most. Situations do not have to seem connected to one another to be connected to one another. It is excitement that always lets you know that they are connected to one another, even though they may not appear to be on the surface. You have the ability to manifest anything you have imagined, anything you desire. You are an infinite creator. As you all say, you are made, all beings in creation are made in the image of God. Well, yes, you are. And that means you are an infinite creator as well, because that is the image of the infinite creator. So act like that. Simply know you have that power simply because you have had the ability to imagine what you wish to do. The ability to imagine it is your sign that you have the power to do it.
And were those signs perhaps then to go ahead with my vision?
Always, whatever excites you the most is the clearest representation of the path you chose to be. Be it.
Yeah, it seems really true.
Okay. Be true to who you are.
Yes, it does.
Enjoy. You are firmly in the driver's seat.
Yes, I hope I will be, and I can help a lot of people.
Oh, yes, you can. No need to hope about it. Hope implies despair. You are. You will. You are assisting many individuals right now.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much. Good day. Sure. And to you, my friend.
I have two things. One is a question, and the next one is a sharing.
All right.
I know you have discussed this idea with us a few times on fear.
Okay.
And I forgot what the heck you said. I said, at the time that you were
Maybe you don't need to be reminded.
No, because actually it's not, it's interesting because the fear that I'm approaching right now is interesting to me.
Where is it coming from?
Slight fear.
Oh.
Yeah. And it's more interesting to me almost than it's fearful.
Oh, very good. You are allowing the energy to be read as excitement rather than anxiety.
True. But I also know that it's showing me something, and I forgot what to look for to find out what it is that it's showing me.
Then you have already learned it. Go on to something else. Sometimes you can learn things so quickly that you forget what the idea was all about. Go on to something else. If you need to be reminded, an incident will occur to remind you.
Okay. Does that mean you're not going to tell me?
There is nothing to tell. If you have forgotten, you have changed your reality to not include the need for the fear.
Oh, no, I didn't forget the fear. I forgot what the fear was supposed to symbolize.
It is one and the same idea.
Oh, okay.
One and the same idea. Now, generally, then can it not simply be for that?
Yes, actually.
That's enough, yes?
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, what?
That's plenty.
Yes.
Because actually that leads into the sharing that I wanted to do.
No, right.
And that came as a result of going out one evening and having an interesting experience with self-invalidation.
All right.
And I thought it was rather odd because I don't normally get into that kind of an expression.
All right. Maybe not the you are now, but obviously the you were then did.
Oh, yeah, I definitely did. And I did it knowing that there was something unusual about this and that there was obviously some reason I was being practiced in the situation. And so the next morning I got up and I was looking it over and I thought, well, that's interesting because the situation that I attracted myself to, that I created an uneasiness and feeling bad about myself, I realized that I was the one that was putting those thoughts there.
Right.
And I was putting them there and then saying, oh, well, this is the way I feel in this situation. Why do I feel that way? Well, the why I felt that way was because I was creating those thoughts.
Because you believe that way, yeah?
Right. And I thought, okay, now that's interesting, and that would certainly make valid the whole evening of feeling bad just to have that realization. So I went in and I sat down at my piano and I played for my own amusement, not professionally, but just for the enjoyment of it. and it has served as a perfect reflection, immediate reflection to me, and on many, many occasions as a meditating tool and as a reflection to show me from second to second how I am dealing with myself.
Right.
So I was playing, and I have many, many, many times this lifetime very heavily invalidated my playing, and I know I've played in other lifetimes and I've played very well, and this lifetime I have all these awful feelings of I don't like to stay in other people's rhythm. I want to break off into my own rhythm, and then I invalidate myself because I don't stay in other people's rhythm. And I play differently from other people, and I don't fit into any of the normally accepted roles that a pianist fits into.
Oh.
I know, and that's been an interesting process in itself of accepting that in myself and saying, so what? What the hell? You know, I play for me.
Yes, what the heaven? Yes.
I play for me, and it's okay for me to play according to my own in rhythms, from inside.
Yes.
And it doesn't really matter whether it fits into an outside person.
Paradox. When you are dealing with paradoxes, when you know you are dealing with your higher consciousness, when you know you are being your higher consciousness, for it is listening to your own inner rhythm and being true to that. That is what puts you in step with everyone else.
Right, interesting.
Yes.
Even though it seems the opposite, right?
At first it may seem so.
Right.
But you can always use paradox to your advantage if you have that point of view.
True.
Remember, all the unity you will experience upon your planet will be the result of the granting of equality and validity to all of the differences within your culture.
Right. And that's certainly been where some of my greatest excitements have come from, is by breaking out of those normal, expected things that everybody agrees on, and this is the way you do it.
Yes.
I don't want to do it.
You know you're still functioning within integrity, even as you express yourself differently.
Right.
You are simply learning to express yourself naturally instead of normally.
Right. Exactly. And it seems abnormal, but in actual fact, it's totally normal.
Yes.
It's the most natural
For
thing in
you.
the world.
Yes.
Right. For me. But that's not even the win yet. Let me tell you about this. I was sitting down at my piano, and I was just fresh coming out of that realization that I was putting those thoughts and feelings of inadequacy there in my state. And I sat down and I started playing. An old tape started running on. You know, you're really messing up, and you're really not getting the notes right, and you're not in rhythm, and what if somebody's listening, and all this kind of stuff. And I just stopped right there, and I went, well, you're creating that too. And I remembered that how many times I listened to you say to people, well, if you want to become something, then be it and act as if you are. And I thought, that's always been a little bit out of reach for me, like, well, maybe one of these days I could do that, but I'm really not ready for it now. Right now I need all the becomingness processes to do those things, because that's what I'm really used to, and I can deal with those tools. Right?
Many of you play that tune, yes.
Yeah. I sat there and I decided. Whoa, that was so good. That went right by me. I sat there and I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to be a good pianist. Just right now, I'm just going to know that I'm a good pianist. And that seemed very courageous for me to do at the time. And I thought, really, this is very weird, and I don't really expect anything to happen from it, but I'm going to do it. Well, that's the way I stepped out of it. This worked. So anyway, I sat down and I said, I'm not a great pianist. I'm a good pianist, and I really know what I'm doing, and I do it well. And I could not believe that.
Obviously, you could.
Right, I did. I observed the most interesting transition of my playing and the relaxedness with which I was approaching my playing. And even when I screwed up, I just went, turn on notes, no big deal. And there was none of this, there you've done it again, and see what a bad pianist you are. It was just oh, I hit a wrong note, and I went right into creating the right note.
You hit a note which allows you to determine whether or not you prefer that one to be in the reality of who you are or not. So in that sense, it is not a wrong note.
Exactly. Right. Right. But I sat there and I played for 2 hours, and I would kind of shift into the viewpoint, shift out of the viewpoint, shift into the viewpoint, shift out of the viewpoint. And it was, and more often I was able just to maintain the viewpoint without the effort and be it. And it felt so wonderful. And then now I've been applying that in other areas, like this area that I had the fear in, and just went, well, I just am it. I just am this person who is creating that thing, which it is that I want to create and that I'm a little bit afraid of creating.
Yay.
And it's starting to unfold more.
Yay!
And the speed of the unfolding correctly just by my making that decision is incredible. And I thought about it afterwards, and I thought, well, I thought about it afterwards, and I thought, now I'm going to want to explain this to somebody, and I'm going to want to tell them how it is that I went from point A to point B, right? That makes sense, yeah. And I thought, what is it exactly that I did? Because I didn't do a process. I didn't do a step. I went from one reality and just right into the next reality. Yay. And all I did was decide to. I decided that, I'm going to create the reality right now.
Yes, you created the you wanted to be and simply became it.
Right. And then I started acting like that person would act.
Okay.
I was almost pretending to myself, and I just thought, this is the most magical tool anyone could ever have.
Yay!
It just cuts all the crap and goes straight to the heart of what it is that you
That's it. All it takes if you are willing to play it that way.
Thanks for helping me to that realization.
Bravissimo. Well, thank you. Strawberry. Patch is still waiting.
You want to go, Steve?
I already went.
You gonna pick me up in the ship or what? You always give me that communication when I ask you that one. And then I give you this one. What do you think Gerald thinks of being called a communication device?
It is enjoyable.
Would you share with us a little bit of data about the energy gate on the 15th of this month that you've been talking about?
It will simply be a representation of a new level of consciousness now. Coincidentally, we have just had an example from someone about how you can use the energy gate. Imagine right now, that there is someone, a future you, on the other side of that energy gate you call March 15th, Ides of March, which, by the way, is your full moon. Very powerful gate, symbolically for all of you. Imagine that the future you desire to become is already on the other side of that gate, waiting for you. Waiting. Now, as you step through that gate, it will therefore be, or can be, for you, an opportunity, if you wish to use it this way visually, to step out of an old shell and step into a new shell, a less restrictive shell. Be, through that gate, your own walk-in. You understand?
I do.
You, the you are now, with no negative connotation, will die. The new you are on the other side of that gate will be the new representation of your spirit on the other side of that gate. Whatever you are now stays on this side of the gate. Anything you will have after that will only be representative of that side of the gate. Nothing else. that will truly be, in many ways, for all of you, day zero, moment zero.
Lovely.
Happy birthday. At this timing, allow us to extend once again to our utter joy, our appreciation in sharing with us the sparkling gift, the flame of your heart, the joy of your love, the clarity of your consciousness. We thank you for this experience with you. We thank you for being willing to function as the ambassadors of your world and allow us to function as the ambassadors of ours, to bring us day by day that much closer to sharing the same dawn on each other's world. We thank you. Allow yourselves to be heaven on earth. It is within you. Good night. How did everything go? Thank you all for being here tonight.
You're welcome. It's